Fire Force is one dope-ass story packed with an array of thrilling, diverse fights. One of the most anticipated is the beatdown between the seemingly evil Captain of Division 1, Leonard Burns, and our Adola-wielding Gooner of Darkness, Shinra Kusakabe. This fight between the two captures the true essence of what Fire Force is all about, a blazing clash of ideals and powers that push Shinra to his limits. It embodies the relentless battles he faces, both within himself and against formidable foes, as he strives to protect those he loves. So of course, leave a like if you do end up enjoying the video, as next up I'll be covering Dragon vs Arthur. And subscribe if you are new around here, as it really helps in pushing my content to a bunch of new amazing people. Either way, sit back and relax as we delve into the heated battle between Captain Burns and Shinra Kusakabe. Nothing is gained without sacrifice, especially things of true importance. In Obi, Burns admits that humanity may lose an asset of great value, but what will it gain in return? Raging out, Shinra boosts up to his height and screams out, asking if he even hears himself. Flashing in and powering up a kick, he connects perfectly with the right shoulder of Burns, who doesn't even flinch. A great torrent of energy then tears through the air. Simultaneous to this, Burn activates his pyrokinesis and simply hits Shinra with a backhand that sends him tumbling backwards. Powering up his flames in order to attack again, Burns quickly notices Joker making his appearance behind him. Dropping down on him, Burns quickly moves back out of the way, just dodging the thunderous strike from Joker. Face to face, the two demons of strength throw a plethora of punches at each other before Burns manages to sneak a kick in that sends Joker sliding backwards towards Shinra. In a flash, our boy goes to head kick Burns, but the dude parries it with a fat right hook. Rotating the other way, Bro lands 3 spin kicks while Joker then rushes in from the other side. He points out that the longer this fight continues to go on, the hotter Burns is gonna get. Yeah, he is. He's gonna get damn hot. Anyway, suddenly Burns' eye erupts with flames and he activates his pyrokinesis ability, Voltage Nova, sending out a violent shockwave of flames that throw our boys from the roof's building. Slowly climbing his way back on, Shinra can see a dense output of flames emanating from Burns, signaling his entrance into the first stage. From here, Joker info dumps us, explaining that Burns' heat only increases with time, and soon he'll be far too powerful for them. Noticing something himself, Shinra wonders why Burns isn't acting like himself at all. He wonders why he won't even talk to them and explain why he changed. Knowing that there is simply no time to talk and he must recognize where he is, Shinra's smile widens as he knows this is a fire. It's a fight or flight. Flames then suddenly light from the tip of Shinra's fingers before engulfing his body. Burn, he thinks. His life solely depends on extracting every last drop of strength from his soul. His face twists into an even more devious smile under the press of death. Getting ready to launch himself forwards, his flames turn a tinge of blue, causing the footprints of flame to evolve further into bladed talons, increasing his overall heat exponentially. Launching at Burns, he knows he will survive. Connecting his kick with the Captain of Division 1's arm, Shinra powers through the block, knocking Burns off his feet and utterly stunning Joker with his increased strength. Slamming his foot down though, Burns goes to pound down on Shinra, but Bro uses his reaction against him, powers through his punch while flashing his new talon-like flames. Whipping his leg down, Shinra coats Burns in a layer of hot flames. Instantly following up, Joker then tosses a bunch of his cards at the Captain, repeatedly hitting him. Diving in close again, Shinra looks up into Burns' eye before throwing his leg forward and connecting with the old-timer's dome. Jumping up and wrapping his other leg around his head, Bro then launches his right leg straight into Burns' one remaining eye, staggering him backwards again. Jumping back off him, another wave of cards then hit the Captain, giving Joker time to tell Shinra not to let up. Spinning back in like a freaking Beyblade, Shinra and Joker continue to pummel their new enemy. Quickly jumping back though upon sensing something, Burns then activates Voltage Nova again, sending Shinra shooting off into the air. Joker, dashing the smoke away from his face, is stunned with how quickly Burns has managed to enter a second stage. He notes that at this rate, it won't be much longer before he's too much for them. In the heat of battle, Shinra looking down wonders what Burns could possibly be thinking. Staring back up at him, Burns goads Shinra, wanting him to come at him. Memories suddenly begin hitting Shinra. How could a fire soldier, a fighter of flames, someone he believed in and looked up to as a father, do something like this? Shinra stares at Burns. He knows he always does this, acts like he knows everything, but never states anything, believing his own conclusions are always correct. Slamming his feet onto the ground, Shinra tells himself that he doesn't like it. Why is it that Captain Obi should have to go through all of this? He thinks it's just like 12 years ago in the past. If Burns had not kept everything to himself for so long, he could have found Sho sooner. And Sho, why did he have to go through it by himself? Why is it that Burns would team up with these white-clad goons? Not wanting to listen to this kid, Burns says he is above all, a servant of God. Throwing a kick at the old-timer and jumping back, Shinra can't believe how he was a priest and a fire soldier. Their sole job is to protect the people. Priest, fire soldier, regardless of whatever else they claim to be, Burns thinks they are only lowly humans first and foremost. All his life he prayed for the Empire, for the world. Questioning it all now though, he wonders where these prayers end up going. While growing up, Burns was often awed for his extreme concentration during prayer. Due to this, a few years later, he was given the baptismal name Leonard, meaning lion's strength. Raffles told him that the lion is a creature who expels evil, so become as the lion. A young Joker wonders why it was he still prayed, even though he doesn't trust either the Empire or the world. The both of them gave an eye to perceive what is wrong with the world, yet Burns still prays. Joker asks why. Why does he pray and for what? What is he hoping to possibly accomplish? Or perhaps he says it's just that his other eye has gone bad too, and maybe he needs to try opening it every once in a while. Seeing him walk away in silence, Joker pulls him up on a stupendous use of the silent treatment. Stopping in his tracks, Burns just says he has nothing to say. He need not explain his actions to him. He is a priest, one who serves God. Come what may, he vows that he will not stop praying. Asking him if he's ever heard of the concept of freedom, Burns replies that he believed in God his whole life. The form his faith takes isn't just going to change, even if his faith has no God. Joker, just confused now, asks how one could bear living that way. Burns thinks out loud that if there is no God, then where do all the prayers go? Raffles' wife's diary. It revealed that the founder of the Holy Soul Temple was an imposter disguised as Raffles. The Holy Soul Temple, Hajime Industries, whether or not there is a god, people were saved by the miracle known as Amaterasu. However, he wonders where that leaves the original god they all believed in. What he saw that day in the other world was self-described madness. Even still, he felt an overwhelming right answer, an overwhelming madness. In other words, he felt the final demise of humankind. He questioned what he was trying to accomplish, praying for, and to who. Coming to a realization though, he found that he wasn't praying for anything. Prayer, pure prayer itself, was his only goal. That's where he finally found it, where his actual prayers go. He doesn't pray for anything, and so his duty is to serve the answer, the conclusion that his prayers ended up attaining. Demanding that he shut up though, Shinra says he won't ever give up, never. Dumbfounded, Burns asks what it is really that bro's searching for, the truth behind why humans randomly combust, his brother, his mother. Nothing he has ever wished for has ever been granted. All his efforts have been and will continue to be in vain. Walking him down now, Shinra repeats on how he swore he was going to be a hero and the one to save everything. Not giving him a moment of peace, Burns commands the destroyer to plant the bug in Obi. While watching the final destroyer push the vial up against the captain's body, Shinra hears Burns' previous words run through his mind. Nothing he has ever wished for will ever be granted. Fractions of a second later, the flea burrows into Obi and he screams out seemingly in pain. Not wanting him to die, Shinra rushes forward but is easily halted by Burns, who tells him to stay and watch. Suddenly, Obi's shirt tears from his body just due to the immense pressure he was putting it under. Turns out, our freaking goat's muscles are too hard for the bug to penetrate, and while everyone else stands there stunned, he screams at them that they should have never locked him inside that damn cell. Looking back and realizing that Obi had somehow managed to break free, Burns notes his hysterical strength. However, he knows he can't keep flexing forever. Stoked that his captain is free here, Shinra calls out to Burns and asks him if he's ready to have his ass freaking kicked. Up on the roof of Fuchu Prison, Obi continues his soul bodybuilding contest, tensing up a freaking storm. Stuck with Burns, Shinra can tell the captain's muscles will probably give out soon. With pretty much no time remaining, Shinra boosts in and tries to strike Burns, but is easily shoved off. Joker behind him activates 4 of a kind and tells Burns he won't be able to escape his cards before sending them after him. Wondering why he even bothers, Burns is caught by surprise as the attacks hit him with even more force than he initially anticipated. Clenching his teeth, the old-timer slams his feet to the floor and claims that from now on, he will take the full force of their attacks. That is his duty. Disgusted with Burns' lack of freedom, the Cap counters by bringing up how Joker left his organization and lived his life in darkness. He asks if that helped him change the Empire at all. Replying that anti-heroes like himself don't do any changing, Shinra rockets down from above while claiming that heroes do. Demanding the child give him his best shot, Shinra hits him with a sonic speed kick. Not freaking bothered by it though, Burns instantly retaliates with Voltage Nova, causing the roof to collapse from the sudden outburst of energy. Now, in stage 3, Burns says the weak submit to the strong. That is the order of all things. If someone wishes to overturn that order, then they must first surpass him. Feeling Burns' fist brush his face, Shinra dodges out of the way. However, the shockwave from the punch shakes his soul and burns up a part of his coat. Seeing Shinra then getting ready to come at him again, he says that oldies like him are not the ones who will bring down the establishment. Launching off the floor at a sonic speed, Shinra slams his foot into Burns' chest. Hearing the oldie tell him he has a long way to go still, Hellboy activates Corner, and a flash, a demonic explosion, blows Burns back off Shinra and covers him in thick black flames. Flexing with ease, Burns expels the flames from around him. Getting ready to strike, he says oldies like him have their pride. Dodging out of the way from his hand cannon blast, Shinra screams back that the young have pride too. Right on cue, Bro then kicks Burns in the head, causing him to slightly stagger. Watching this from a few floors above, Joker surveils the fight. To him, a kid and an old man butting heads is pivotal. Never in history have these kinds of battles concluded until the kid triumphs over the old man. Slowly making his way forth towards the dominator of strength, Shinra stands ready. Burns thinks Shinra will never change anything if that's all he's got. In return, Shinra screams that he's just getting freaking started. Disapparating and launching a corner kick straight into the abdomen of Burns, Shinra goes to push him back, but is grabbed and thrown sideways into the remnants of the destroyed building. Asking if he really wants to dance with him that bad, Shinra activates his flames, sending himself spinning around Burns. Adding more speed, Bro manages to break free from his grip. Flipping back through the air, he lands perfectly on a ledge that he uses to jump back off. Landing on the ground, Shinra gains speed by cartwheeling before flicking himself up and head-kicking Burns. Augmenting his fire at specific angles, Shinra totally violates Burns, head-kicking him 5 times. Spinning back, he then hits him with a kick to the old-timer's chest that cocks him upon impact. Going back into strike again, Shinra is this time caught by Burns, who he slams his hands down on. Managing to quickly roll free though, Shinra knows he still needs more speed. The strength of his kinetic energy is proportional to his mass and velocity. If he can just go faster, he knows not a single person can beat him. Kicking Burns a multitude of times, he screams for himself to go faster. Asking if that happens to be all of the energy he has, Burns throws a punch that connects with Shinra's kick and tears through it. Connecting with his dome, he asks if that's all his pride amounts to. Grabbing him by the scuff of his head, Burns picks him up and uppercuts Shinra, pulverizing his face. Watching this all go down, Joker wants to interfere, but is smart enough to understand that anti-heroes like himself don't change anything. Heroes do. Seeing Shinra take hit after hit, Joker calls out for him. Getting smashed in the face once more, Shinra though smiles like a demon, grabs Burns' hand and uses it to fling himself at full force into the old-timer's head. Flicking himself back up while still holding on to Burns' hand, Shinra then drops back down again, this time hitting him in the chest and pile driving him straight into the floor. Quickly countering himself, Burns throws a left hook that sends Shinra crashing off into some rubble. Getting to his feet in no time at all, Shinra doesn't give him any time to rest. Shooting back in, he knees Burns, who blocks the attack and tells him that his life has just been like this. It's all a battle of Shinra blowing smoke into the wind. Like a complete maniac, Bro says that since he has nothing else to lose anymore, he'll keep on blowing all the smoke he can. Or does he just expect young people like himself to do what they're told without ever fighting back? Questioning what he takes him for, Burns, insulted by the idea, says he is one who welcomes the youth's wrath with open arms. If that's the case, Shinra says, then, well, he has no choice but to continue until he's convinced. He is going to be a hero. After all, he made a promise that one day he would be a hero and protect his mother and Sho. For all he loves, he must protect Sho and Company 8. He has to protect his family. If that means he has to kick the world's ass, or even God's, then kick their asses, he freaking will. Somewhere nearby, Sho feels something flash through him. Looking at Arrow, he says something is messing with his universe. Seeing some memories of the past, specifically one of Shinra fist bumping his little bro, he wonders who he is. This warm feeling, who is it that is messing with his universe, he questions. Looking down, Sho thinks it could have been his brother. By the time Shinra was old enough to sense what was already going on in his life, he'd lost everything that meant something to him. That's why for him, no life is worth more nor less than any other. All lives are priceless to him. He wanted to be a hero, to save everyone. That has never changed. However, there are lives that mean the world to him, that he has to protect at all costs. Feeling the press of death weighing down on him, he questions if he's about to overheat. The heat from Burns is only getting hotter, so to him, it's a now or never. He will rush forward and hit him with absolutely everything he has. Activating Voltage Nova and expelling a great deal of even hotter flames, Burns, in anticipation for the attack, moves into Stage 4. A fraction of a second later, the oldie and young gun then clash. Flashing into the past, we learn more about Leonard Burns and how he was chosen to be the Empire's fang and claws. He was to be its protector. As the Lion of the Empire, he was to cleanse it of the devils that would do it harm. He swore to heaven that he would pray, that he would be a servant of DOGG, that he would be the Lion of the Empire and cast out all devils. Back in reality, he screams at Shinra, asking the devil if this is all he can muster up. His so-called desire to become a hero, is this truly how small it is? God now wishes for destruction, and as God's servant, Burns vows to follow that path, and whoever decides to rebel against that path is an enemy of God's great universe of creation. For all Shinra's arrogance, Burn goads him, asking if he can't defeat one lousy old man. Screaming back that nothing and nobody can stop his kick, not even Burns or freaking God himself, Shinra picks the speed up and pushes through the captain's guard, connecting with his chest. Simultaneous to this, Burns digs his feet deeper into the ground and activates Voltage Nova, moving into Stage 5. Immediately, our boy is engulfed by a hot torrent of thick flame that start pushing him back. Not giving up, bro locks in and boosts forward. In Stage 5 now, Burns has completely evolved into a being that is covered in a layer of dense flame. Speaking, he says the Evangelist is the world's mouthpiece, God, so to speak. He was told by this being that their world is headed for destruction. Chucking his arm forth and plunging his fingers into Shinra's chest, our boy screams out in pain. Gritting his teeth in defiance, he says that even if the world tries to burn everything to ash, he will never give up. As he slowly starts to remember his mother and Sho, Shinra suddenly sees Sho standing in the distance, and he tells his little bro that he shouldn't worry, it'll all be okay. All he needs to do is be patient and wait. He promises that he will save him after all. Flashing over to Arrow and Sho walking through the tunnels, the little guy turns back, concerned. In the fight, Shinra somehow gets even hotter, pushing out even more fire from his rear leg, allowing him to accelerate straight into Burns. Taking the attack head on, just like he said he would, Burns goads him, telling him to do it, go and kick everyone's asses. Replying that he does not care what kind of fire the world wants to start, his feet will pulverize him. Forcing himself to his absolute limit, Shinra breaks past Burns' hand and kicks him directly in the middle of the chest, dropping him to the floor. With the smoke slowly starting to clear, Shinra looks over to see Burns collapsed on a pile of debris.